Let's talk about a traffic strategy that often gets labeled as trendy, but when done right, can create deep scalable impact. Yes, I'm talking about influencer marketing. And I say this with some personal experience. Before I got into building digital commerce systems and teaching strategy, I spent 2 years in affiliate marketing. And while that's a different model, what it really taught me was how influence works online. It taught me how trust, storytelling, and distribution create momentum, and how real people, not just platforms, drive most of today's buying decisions. That learning has shaped how I look at the influencer marketing today. It's not just a buzzword. It's not just about selfies or product placements. It's about borrowing trust at scale. So let's define this clearly. Influencer marketing is when you collaborate with someone who has an audience, usually on Insta, YouTube, TikTok, or even on LinkedIn or Twitter, and they promote your product or brand to that audience in exchange for something. And that something could be for money, free products, or even exclusive experiences. But the whole point is this: they already have the attention of the people you want to reach, and instead of building that attention from scratch, you are plugging into it. That's what makes influencer marketing so powerful. And it's not just traffic, it's warm traffic, it's trust based traffic, it's attention that comes preloaded with credibility. Now if we step back and ask, why does this even work? Why would someone care more about a reel from a fitness creator than a well designed ad you made yourself? The answer is simple: people trust people more than they trust brands. It's human nature. We are wired to respond to a social proof, to storytelling, to relatability. When we see someone, we follow someone whose content we enjoy, using a product and talking about it genuinely. It doesn't feel like a pinch, it feels like a recommendation, and recommendations convert far better than ads, especially in categories like skincare, fashion, fitness, health, preventing, um, food, and home improvement. But influencer marketing isn't about hiring the biggest celebrity you can afford. In fact, today some of the most effective campaigns come from what we call micro influencers creators with anywhere between 5,000 to 50,000 followers. Why? Because they often have a tighter, more engaged community. Their audience listens, they replies, buys, and the influencer still feels like one of us, not a billboard. And that relatability is pure gold when it comes to conversion. So, how does this play out for an e-commerce brand? Let's say you're selling handmade skincare. You could run Facebook ads all day and hope the algorithm gets it right. Or you could find 10 skincare creators on Insta or YouTube, send them your best sellers and ask them to try it and share the honest thoughts. If the content is authentic and the product actually works, that content becomes real social proof. And the beauty is, it doesn't just reach their audience once, it can live on their page in reels, in highlights, in pinned comments. It has longevity. There is always also a shift happening in how influencer partnerships are viewed. It's no longer about one-off shout outs. The best brands today treat influencers as long-term brand ambassadors. Think beyond one post for 10,000 rupees and start thinking in terms of relationships. A creator who believes in your product and integrates it into their content over time will deliver far more value than someone who does a single unboxing and never mentions you again. Of course, this only works if you find the right fit. It's not about the follower count, it's about the alignment actually. So, does the creator speak to your audience? Do they match your brand values? Have they promoted 20 different brands in the past week, or do they go deep into a fewer partnerships? These questions matter because at the end of the day, you are not just renting reach, you are borrowing their trust. And if that trust is diluted, the impact will be too. So let's talk a bit about formats because not all influencer content is created equal. Some creators are great at doing quick, engaging reels that stop the scroll. Others might be better at long form YouTube videos where they go deep into product benefits, show demos, or show personal routines. You have to match the content type to the creator's natural style. Forcing someone who's built their brand and around storytelling to do a hard sell product pitch in 15 seconds, that almost always falls flat. Instead, give creators the space to interpret your brand through their lens. You're not just buying exposure, you're co creating content that reflects their voice and your value. This is especially important for e commerce brands with visually appealing products. If you sell fashion, home decor, kitchen tools, wellness gadgets, your product needs to be shown in action. Let people imagine it in their lives. That's why influencer marketing is so different from a standard ad. It's not just about what the product is, it's about how it fits into someone's day, their personality, their lifestyle. And when that feels natural, when the product integration doesn't break the flow, it works like absolute magic. One more thing to keep in mind is the numbers don't always tell the whole story. Yes, views, likes, shares, and comments matter, but don't get caught up chasing viral reach. What matters more is engagement quality. Did people ask questions, click through to your page, mention the brand in the comments, make a purchase? That's what real impact looks like. So when you evaluate influencer performance, go beyond surface level metrics and look at what actually moved the needle for your brand. Now let's get into the practical part. How do you actually find the right influencers? Because this is where most brands go wrong. They either go after the biggest names they can find, or they say yes to anyone who agrees to post. But remember, this is not about chasing clout. It's about finding creators who align with your brand voice, audience, and values. Start with this simple question: who already speaks to the customer I want? Not who has the most followers, but who has influence in my category. If you're selling a sustainable home goods, a DIY interior decor creator with 20,000 engaged followers might be more valuable than a Bollywood celebrity with 2 million passive ones. If you are the one, if you are in the fitness niche, a YouTuber who posts daily workout routines and actually uses gear like yours is a better bet than a generic lifestyle blogger. You also want to look beyond the content. Look at the comments. Are people engaged? Are they asking follow-up questions? Do they treat the influencer like a trusted voice, or are the comments full of bots, spam, or one word emojis? Engagement rate matters more than the follower counts, and that engagement has to be real because fake influence is everywhere these days. Another trick is to look at past brand collaborations of the influencer. Has the creator promoted 15 different brands in the last month? If yes, their audience may have tuned up. On the other hand, someone who only features 2 to 3 brands but does it with depth and frequency often converts better. They're not just promoting, they are endorsing. Now, once you have identified a short list of influencers who genuinely make sense, the next step is outreach. But this is not a cold business transaction, it's a relationship. And like any relationship, how you show up matters. Don't just send a generic DM saying, "Hi, I want to collab." That gets you ignored, obviously. Instead, show them that you know their content, reference a specific video or a post, share why you think there is alignment, and be clear, not salesy, but clear about what you're hoping to do together. Incentives are next. What do you offer? Payment is one way, yes, but that's not the only currency. Depending on your brand and the stage you are at, you can also offer exclusive products drop, early access, custom discount codes, or even content licensing rights. Some influencers love the idea of co-creating a product line or being featured on your website. Think beyond just the rupees per post model. Especially for micro influencers and niche creators, creative collaborations can go definitely a long way. Let's also talk about campaign structure, because the way you design your influencer program can make or break its effectiveness. One off post are fine for testing, but if you want real ROI, you need consistency. Ideally, your influencer is creating 2 to 3 pieces of content over a month or more. Maybe a product unboxing followed by a usage demo, then a story with a feedback or results. That kind of repetition reinforces trust It makes the product feel like part of their life, not just something they were paid to post about once and forget. And if your product is one that benefits from time, like skincare supplements or lifestyle tools, this is even more critical. You can't expect results from a 60-second reel if your product needs weeks to show impact. So plan your collaboration accordingly. Give them the time and flexibility to experience the product and give it an honest review. The more natural it feels, the more authentic it lands, and that's what moves people to action. And also consider mixing content formats. A strong campaign might include a reel or a TikTok for reach. uh, Definitely not in India now, but yes, a YouTube review for depth, a story sequence for behind the scenes access, a pin post or highlight that keeps the content visible. This way, you're covering both short term visibility and long term presence. Now, one last tip for this segment: always make it easy for influencers to succeed. Send them a creative brief, but don't script their words. Share product USP, usage tips, and your brand story, but let them tell it in their own way. You pick them for their voice, so trust that voice. Don't try to maneuver their voice into your words. The more it sounds like them, the better it will land with their audience. Let's now get into what most people skip when talking about influencer marketing: measuring impact. Because here is the truth: likes and comments are not the end goal. Visibility is great, but visibility alone doesn't build a business. So, if you're going to invest in influencer marketing, whether with time, products, or budget, you need to know what success looks like. So, what should you measure? It depends on your goal. If the campaign is focused on awareness, then reach, impressions, views, and engagement rate matters. You want to know how many people saw this content. Did they stop scrolling? Did they interact? Was it shared? Did it get saved? These signals show whether your product made people pause even if they didn't click right away. But if your goal is conversion, then you need to go deeper. You want trackable actions. Use custom discount codes or affiliate links to tie each influencer's impact to actual sales. Even better, look at your store analytics during the campaign period. Did direct traffic spike? Were there more branded searches? Did email signups increase? Influencer content can have a halo effect. That's not always trackable to the link, but patterns in behavior can tell you what worked. Now, don't expect every campaign to deliver massive sales immediately. That's one of the biggest mistakes brands make. Influencer marketing is more like farming than hunting. It plants seeds of trust, recognition, and familiarity. Sometimes it takes two or three exposures before someone actually buys. But when they do, that conversion often has a higher lifetime value because it came from trust, not a discount banner. Let's also talk about common mistakes that cost brands time and money. First is treating influencer marketing like traditional ads. If you send over a rigid script, 10 product talking points, and expect them to sound like a brand manager, the content will feel forced and the audience will scroll past. Instead, brief the creator on your product benefits, your story, your vision, and then let them speak in their own language. They know their audience better than you do. Trust their creative process. Second is not preparing your store or site for their attention. If a creator is about to post a video that could drive thousands of people to your page, make sure the landing experience delivers. Are your product images sharp? Is the checkout smooth? Is the offer clear? There's nothing worse than getting traffic and losing it because your site was not ready. And third, going too wide too fast. Some brands chase volume, they want 100 creators talking about them in one week. But if the fit is not right or the timing feels forced, it can actually dilute your brand. A better approach is to start small. Test with 3 to 5 creators, see what content works, then double down on the voices that resonate. Also, Don't forget to repurpose great influencer content. If someone created a beautiful reel or an in depth review, you can license that content and use it in your ads, your product pages, your email campaign. Just make sure you have agreed on usage rights in advance. Repurposed influencer content often outperforms professionally shot ads because it feels more real, more human. So now let us bring this to life with a couple of examples. Take Mama Earth for instance, one of the fastest growing D2C brands in India right now. A big part of their early traction came from influencer campaigns on YouTube and Instagram. But they didn't just throw money at big celebrities. They worked with parenting bloggers, skincare reviewers, and micro influencers who actually used their products and spoke honestly about them. That grassroots credibility helped them break into a crowded market, not just with awareness but with trust. And the another best example from one of the Shark Tank judges is Boat, the audio brand. They partnered with fitness and lifestyle creators, not just with tech reviewers. Why? Because their products were lifestyle driven. People wanted headphones that looked good, sounded good, and worked during workouts or commutes. By choosing influencers who use the product naturally in their daily life, not just reviewed it on a desk, they reached customers in a more relatable way. And you can apply the same logic to your brand. You don't need to chase celebrities, you need to find the right voices your audience listens to, voices that feels real and not transactional. So always remember, this is about borrowing trust. And when you borrow trust, you have a responsibility to treat it with care. Make sure your product lives up to the promise. Make sure your service matches the tone of the campaign, because influencer marketing can open the door, but it's your product and experience that decides whether people walk through. So to wrap this up, influencer marketing is not just about hype, it's about human connection, smart targeting, and consistent follow through. If you approach it as a relationship channel, not a one-time stunt, it can become one of your most powerful traffic engines, not just for clicks, but for community, for credibility, and for the long-term brand love that you're here for and you're looking for. So, before we close this section, I want to leave you with a mindset shift. When you think of an influencer marketing, don't limit yourself to just Instagram or YouTube creators. Influencers can come from anywhere. It might be a newsletter writer in your niche who has a highly loyal audience. It could be a podcast host with 5,000 weekly listeners who trust every recommendation. It could even be someone in your own customer base, someone who keeps tagging you, sharing your story, and vouching for your brand with no strings attached. That's influence too. The future of influence marketing isn't just about viral videos or platform specific trends. It's about identifying who has the ear of your customer. Who do they listen to? Who do they follow for advice, for product tips, for life inspiration? And how can you partner with those voices in a way that's mutually valuable? Also, never ever underestimate the power of employee advocacy or founder led content. Sometimes the most trusted influencer for your brand is you. If you're passionate about your product, show up on video, share your journey, talk about the why behind the brand. These days, even customers are influenced by transparency. They want to know the face behind the business, and your own voice, when shared consistently, can become as influential as third party creator. Now, of course, scaling this kind of marketing takes time. It's not as instant as flipping on a Facebook campaign, but what you build is far more valuable and which is an ecosystem of trusted voices speaking about your brand in an organic, relatable way. And the ripple effect of that, one post today, another mention next week, a review 6 months later. That's how trust scales. Not with a bang, but with steady, credible reputation. So to close this out, influencer marketing isn't a silver bullet. It's not magic, but when it is done right, it is one of the few marketing methods that can bring authenticity, reach, and conversions together. Use it not just to drive traffic, but to build relief. That's what makes someone not just click. but come back, recommend, and become a part of your brand story.